Greetings, Commanders! My name is Eagle, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the best tank officers in case of war. We're going to be showcasing their skills, their talent trees, in addition to their best natural pairings, as well as how to obtain these officers in the game. So if you like these types of videos where we give you guides and tips about officers, officer combinations, and all-in-all details and how to smash your enemies on the battlefield, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video for more Case of War content. So before we start the video, I would just like to update you guys on the new upload schedule that I'll be sticking with for starting from next Saturday. So this schedule will be as follows, as I'll be uploading 4 videos weekly on the following dates. It will be on Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. So you would expect a new video coming in these dates at around 20 to 21 UTC. So you would expect a new video at around that time. And for now, let's get right into it. So, first of all, we would like to talk about officers that actually have the tank talent tree within their specializations. So if you look over here, for example, Catherine has a talent tree. First of all, we're going to show you which officers that we're going to cover in this video. So it's going to be Catherine, Grace, Linda, in addition to Marjorie, as well as Natalya. We haven't unlocked Natalya still, however, that's okay because we're going to just go over her skills right quickly and say what potential role she could have in the game. Once we unlock her, we would do a video just about Natalya, showing you guys what is her role exactly in the game. So starting off with the free-to-play friendly officer, Marjorie. So everyone over here would be actually shocked that Marjorie can actually do some damage in the game. If you haven't looked at her skills, and if you only think that Marjorie can be used as a gatherer, then let me prove you wrong. So her first skill does a blowing damage multiplier of 600. I mean, I understand 600 compared to legendary officers like Catherine over here. That awakened Catherine does 1600. So there's like a 1000 difference over there. But hey, let's think about this. In order to obtain Catherine, you have to actually spend money in the game. So if you are a free-to-play player who wants to actually have some fun in the game and hey, deal some damage as well, then Marjorie would be a great option for you, especially because of the fact that you can level her up so fast because she requires exactly half the amount of experience that the legendary officer requires. So you would be able to level up Marjorie so fast that you could get her up to 5 stars and then train her to the maximum level because hair shards are easily obtained from the elite treatment, the elite boxes over here and the basic recruitment boxes as well. So you'd be gaining her, badges so easy in the game, and especially from events and whatnot. So maxing her out is a great thing, or a thing that is possible in the early game. Therefore, you would definitely be able to use her in the early game and utilize her skills, which are basically the damage multiplier over here, the tank attack increase and tank speed increase, in addition to the damage dealt increase, as well as the speed increase. So she is all in all a pretty solid tank officer if you know exactly how to utilize her skills in the early game, obviously, and if you can make her reach up to level 50, then you can actually pair her with another tank officer, which we would like to talk about over here, which is Linda. Of course, before we forget, Marjorie talent trees, if you were to put her as a in the fight, I would go for tank tree, fill it up all the way to tank mastery, and then move on to the mobility tree, which is actually as well a pretty good tree if you are trying to follow up your enemies or even do these cat and mouse chases in the battlefield. This would be an amazing talent tree to give you more mobility in the battlefield as you are trying to chase down or run from enemies. So the second officer over here is Linda. Linda is actually a phenomenal free-to-play friendly officer because this officer over here is easily obtained. As you can see, we have almost maxed out her training, and in a matter of fact, let's actually max it out right now on the video because hey, why not? And if you haven't known this, a level 20 training is the maximum level that you can reach in an officer. Now we have her dealing 10% or having 10% more advantage against infantry. Now, I'm not sure right over here if this 10% is actually 10% more damage increase, or is it just 10% more effectiveness, which I'm not really sure how to translate into numbers. So if you guys know exactly how that actually translates into numbers in the battlefield, please make sure to leave a comment below about how this mechanism or mechanic work in the game. So moving on to her skills, I would definitely max out her first skill first. And as you know that Linda is a good jungler as well. However, if you are not gonna use her in the jungling, for jungling, then you can definitely skip her second skill and go ahead and max out her third skill, which will increase your tank attack by 10% and reduce the damage taken or received by the units under their command by 5%. Then moving into targeted strike over here, which will increase the skill damage by a huge 20%, because you're already dealing 850 over here, and when she is awakened, she would deal 100, 1000, and 150 damage, in addition to a continuous damage multiplier in the next round of 200, and all this would be increased by 20%, so that would reach like a total of, I would say like 1400, around 1400 damage, which is kind of insane because Linda is just an epic officer, and how you unlock her is technically throughout events, or spending legendary badges as we did right now, or even just simply from the elite recruitment and basic recruitment chests over here. And she's fairly easily maxed out, and you would definitely need to upgrade her up to level 50 to be used if you were trying to pair her up with another officer and utilize her talent tree as well, which we can look at right now. So this is exactly the talent tree that I would suggest for Linda when she has reached level 50. So you go ahead and max out all the way to tank mastery over here, and then you can move along and basically go in all this tree over here all the way to tactical assault. So technically speaking, Linda is a fairly good officer compared to how actually easily obtained she can be, because simply she deals a lot of damage in the battlefield. And let me tell you, a maxed out level 60 Linda with training level 20 actually deals a lot of damage in the battlefield, so don't underestimate her when you see her. So just a heads up. And for a free-to-play player, definitely maxing Linda out is always recommended. Pairing her with Marjorie, a level 50 Marjorie, getting all the talent tree buffs from the tank tree and the mobility tree would actually give you a very nasty pairing, especially in the early game to mid game. So moving on to the Grace and Catherine over here. So as you know, my stance on Grace is that she's not great as a field officer. I mean, Grace is just amazing in defense, especially versus swarms. So this is the reason why I haven't maxed out this skill over here, although it's actually a pretty insanely good skill. However, as I said in the beginning, I was afraid to actually get swarmed. This is why I maxed out this one and this one over here, along with this one. Definitely, Grace, like the skill, the normal tank skill prioritizing would be maxing out the first skill, then the second skill, then the third skill, the fourth, and then the third one over here. So it'd be 1, 2, 4, and 3. This is the normal prioritizing for maxing out her abilities. However, if you are using her purely as defense, as I'm doing right now, you would go ahead and max out the first skill, then the fourth skill, then the third, and then the second. Because when you are defending, as we said, you're not actually using just tanks, you're using a mixture of troops. And most likely what I would use in defending depends, of course, on what types of troops you're being attacked with, but I really liked anti-tanks. As you can see, I have maxed out my Lilith to 5 stars, so it's just basically the nature of the game and how you want to play it. However, for the talents, I would definitely go for fill up the tank tree over here, and then definitely go for the defense tree over here. As I said, it's not the greatest officer to fight in the field. However, she is pretty good when you are trying to attack multiple targets at a time. Even if you are trying to attack them in the field, hey, she's still actually pretty good. However, as I said, she is more useful and more utilized when you're trying to defend your base, especially against swarms. Moving on to Catherine right now. Basically, how to obtain Catherine is one of the questions that we have seen. So there was an event a couple weeks ago, or like I think 2 weeks ago, which was Summer Party. I'll leave a card at the top. We've talked about this event, and this event actually you could have obtained from it some Catherine badges. However, the fastest way to obtain Catherine badges is basically to buy the VIP badges, the VIP packages over here, and they are fairly cheap for the amount of badges they give you, especially the ones that are over here. So you would get like 10 badges for Catherine, and this was what for $1, and this one is another $1, and you would get all these kind of goodies. So these packages, and this is like $5, I do believe, and then another $5. So the first at least 5 to 6 packages in the VIP store are fairly easily obtainable. And what you can do is get those packages, max out her first and second skill, and this would give you a huge advantage over your opponents. Even if you are a low spender, this is where you actually should spend, because VIP packages, and especially Catherine, is a pretty solid officer to actually invest in this game. She is also a pretty good jungler. However, I wouldn't care less, because simply she is just so good. Her skills are so good that even if you don't have her on the jungler tree, you will still deal a lot of damage, unless you are trying to do an event that requires you to deal the maximum amount of damage to NPCs. Then I would definitely switch her up to the jungler tree. However, for now, the priority for maxing out her skills is the first skill, second skill, moving on to the fourth skill over here. Let me talk about this skill actually. So for a normal attack, it has a 10% chance to increase the damage the target receives by 30% for the next 3 seconds. So technically, this skill is actually pretty good if you think about it for the long run. So if you're trying to attack a target for like a good 1 minute. So if you're trying to attack a base or attack just like a huge fight in the battlefield, then this would pay off definitely in the battlefield. However, if you're trying, as I said, to use her as a jungler, then definitely you can go for this ability. But my recommendation is to go to max out the first ability, second one, fourth one, and then go for the third one. When she is awakened, she is dealing some monstrous damage with a damage multiplier of 1600 and a continuous damage multiplier of 700, which is pretty solid. For the talent trees, I would definitely max out the tank tree over here, because she's definitely going to be used as a tank officer, and then definitely go down in the skill tree, go all the way down to Burning Rage, because this ability is insanely good. You would be casting your ability quite often, and this is why I think she is a pretty phenomenal officer, because simply of the fact that you can actually cast your abilities faster and deal a lot of damage in the battlefield. So this is why I would definitely recommend investing in Catherine, as she is a beast in the battlefield. So in order to deal the maximum burst damage in the field, I would pair Catherine along with Linda for maximum amount of damage. Grace, I would definitely I mean, I could pair Catherine with Grace, but I wouldn't really recommend it highly, as I said, because of Grace's nature, that she isn't a great field fighter. However, if you're trying to do 2 tank marches at a time, then I would go for Catherine with Grace and Linda with Marjorie. But let's talk about Natalya over here, because let's not take it out of the picture. She is a pretty solid officer over here. She's mainly used in defense, however, can as well be utilized as a very heavy army of pure tanks in the battlefield because of, first of all, her huge healing multiplier of 1400, the attack decrease of the enemies, and the speed decrease of the enemies over here if you're trying to chase them in the battlefield. In addition to taking less damage by 10% and increasing the counterattack damage by 20%, and as well as giving more tank attack to your tanks and defense as well. Moreover, increasing the health effectiveness of your troops by 30%, and the damage on the defense increase by 20%. And lastly, this would give you less damage by 5%, and you would deal more damage to the infantry units if you're trying to attack infantry units with your tank units, having this officer as your secondary or primary, in addition to reducing the target's march speed by 50%. So Natalya is actually a pretty solid officer. I would definitely pair her with Grace to stack up the counterattack damage increase. So that would be 50% increased counterattack damage purely from the skills that they have, which is kind of insane, so that you'd actually be hitting multiple troops in the battlefield for more damage. However, this specific march over here, would be utilized as a very heavy march that can actually sustain a lot of damage, and I would definitely go for Catherine and Linda for a burst march. So as you can see over here, we have different types of marches. We have the heavy marches that can sustain more in the battlefield, give out healing to the troops, and deal more counterattack damage. And we have the pure burst attack marches that can deal massive amounts of damage in small periods of time. However, doesn't have great sustainability in the battlefield. So I hope you guys liked this video. We covered a lot of ground over here. If you have any questions, please make sure to leave a comments below or contact me in Discord. I will leave my Discord in the description of the video. And I would like to thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you on the next one. Bye bye.